Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, practice makes perfect, and here we are. It's Sunday night, and you have spent your entire weekend building up to what you are about to experience for the next 90 minutes here at the Painting with Menoth John show. Ladies and gentlemen, by God, I am Menoth John. You know, I've been doing this podcasting thing since 2008. You know, or was it 2010? One of those years. I've been doing it for a while, and we're liable to get it right one of these times. Of course, with me, as always, up in the catbird seat, you know him as the mighty right hand of the podcast, the wind beneath my wings, the co-host with the Mr. John Spencer.
Hey-o!
Hell yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight. I am, of course, the president for life of War Machine and Hordes. You know me. You love me. Some of you do, at least. You tolerate me for sure, because we come on here every Sunday night to tantalize and titillate your paintbrush to the extent that we are allowed by law and consumer protection laws as well. We are liable to paint things tonight, and among those things that we are liable to paint would be the Protectorate Battle Box. John, do you know why I have chosen the Protectorate Battle Box tonight?
Because your name's Menoth John?
Well, that's one of the reasons. The other reason would be that we are talking about Journeyman Leagues tonight, something that, John, I don't believe that we've touched on the show before.
Not in any great detail, other than maybe some mentions of the ones I've been in, but yeah, nothing much.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Journeyman Leagues for a while here. I super love what the chroma keying is doing to my chair tonight. It makes it look like it's gray and transparent and kind of spooky. John, did you know that sitting on a spooky chair is liable to get us at least 2 or 3 extra viewers tonight?
Oh, you should be doing that every week then. Spooky chair for the win.
We should probably hashtag spooky chair on Twitter and see if we can get any of those Ghost Adventures people to tune into us, because they would certainly enjoy what we have to say here on Painting with Menoth John. We're going to have a beverage update, and it's a very special beverage update, John. Were you aware of that?
I was aware of that.
Yes. Well, we're going to start off tried and true with a little shot of the Kraken here. This is in, of course, the K glass of the Kraken shot glass collection, and we will be starting off with that. And then the big special part, folks. In mid-July, I weighed 196 pounds, which was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And this week, I inverted that to 169. Now, my goal is 165, but we are going to call this the green zone, that 5-pound green zone between 165 and 170. And I am going to have the first beer that I've had since the end of July, and I am going to break this spell with Ellicottville Brewing Company's Blueberry Wheat Ale. It's a malt beverage brewed with blueberries that tips the scale at 4.8% volume alcohol. What about you, John?
Well, I finished off that Honey Brown, so I'm going to have a giant Smirnoff Ice screwdriver.
That's a big fucking bottle of booze you got there, buddy.
Should last me all show. And I'm going to start. And the shot of choice today is Serpent's Bite apple cider whiskey, which is really, really fucking tasty.
Well, God bless you, man. On behalf of everyone here at Painting with Menoth John, we're glad that you're here to spend part of your Sunday night with us. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
I am rapidly running out of Kraken, which means I need to replenish the stock before we get to JohnCon 2016. There it is, folks. There's the official logo. We have an official graphic artist of the Painting with Men with John show. We'll be bringing him on for a special a special bit here before too long to kind of share with you all the wonderfulness that he's doing for us. He did the Co's Corner graphics that premiered this week on the Patreon. And so as you can see here, JohnCon 2016, it's a little event that I'm going to be, it's little this year. This is kind of our trial run, doing it out of my house. If this turns out to be something super popular, we will kick this out to a larger venue for 2017. But this is going to be a food machine event benefiting the food shelf of Racine, Wisconsin. Used to do these kind of little all-day gaming fests back when out of my house when I lived in Utah. And Rich Brotman from the Beer Machine Podcast will be joining me in Racine, along with Tracy Carter will be joining us, along with, but there'll be about 10 or 12 of us gathering at my house. That's a good number, John, don't you think?
Yeah, 10, 12 is awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to be running, we're going to be taking donations. People can bring their cans of food, and we'll be selling tickets to use as entries and cheats and all kinds of interesting things. Whatever we can do to bilk people out of their money to help the less advantaged in our society, because Racine is a community that, frankly, has its challenges. We've got the highest unemployment rate in the entire state of Wisconsin, and but by God, we're trying, and we're gonna keep the love light shining here at the Painting with Men with John show through JohnCon 2016. I am going to be working on a tip jar. So if you're hearing your voice, get on over there to PwMJ.com. We will post it up there once it becomes active. And it'll be available through PayPal, and we will have complete disclosure as far as how much money it's made, and then we will also scan the receipt that will show what we bought. We're going to go to Aldi with that so we can make those dollars stretch to as many different cans of perishable foods, unperishable. We don't want to give perishable foods, John. We don't want to give something that's going to fucking spoil. We could get them up. Here's a raw turkey. Now deal with it. That would be a terrible thing to do. But we're going to definitely be all over this. And so there you go. JohnCon 2016 coming to Racine in October 22nd. So coming up, folks. Let's see. Let's put that away. And, we have something else behind me right now, John, that's pretty special.
We do. It's very attractive. Almost magnetic.
Oh, I see what you did there, John. It is magnetic. In fact, it is the newest premium for the Patreon.com. This is the $2 premium. This is the new oval magnet. This is waterproof. It is designed to go on your car and to put on there and make you look European. Now, John, this is something that I don't think a lot of people understand, is that by putting a magnet like this that makes you look more European, is that it's going to give you that je ne sais quoi. We're going to put je ne sais quoi in each and every one of these. I talked to in fact, I emailed the company that we're going through here and said, can you put an extra 10% je ne sais quoi in these? Make them slightly more European. And you know what, John? They did it. They did it. They did not upcharge us one little bit for the extra je ne sais quoi. That comes with the logo itself. Painting with Men with John. It's right there. The brushhead logo's there. The website, PwMenWithJohn.com, is right there. You'll be able to slap this thing on your car, unless it's a Fiero. Don't try to put this on an old Pontiac Fiero. Certain parts of Saturns will still work with this, but in the general, you probably are okay. If you drive, let's say, one of those carbon fiber cars, like the Austin Martins or something bullshit like that, chances are you don't listen to this show. This shit will not stick to carbon fiber, but it will do very good on anything that's made out of steel. So, if it's magnetic, this will stick on it.
It's metal.
It's metal as shit, boy. Ronnie James Dio approved this just before he died. So, some would say this might have killed him, but it wouldn't be us saying that. There you go. It's a sticker that is magnetic that you can put on your car and doesn't fuck up your paint. So, there you go. That Tracy Carter just got a new car, John.
I heard that.
She is going to drive that car to JohnCon with this sticker on it. She doesn't know that yet.
Awesome.
She hasn't committed to that yet, but she will. And so there you go. $2. Get over there to patreon.com/menoffjohn. And at the $2 per episode level, all $2, all $5, all $10 are getting this particular magnetic sticker. We ordered 125 of them, John, because there was a price break. And if I wanted to order 50 or 125, it was almost literally the same price.
Yeah, you might as well go for 125 because we're going to have that many patrons because we're growing, right?
You damn Skippy. We're growing like things that grow slowly. But we're there. We love every one of them. So coming to you. Also, the John, as we talked about John Con, John, we have a Brushhead Gallery coming up.
We do. It's sneaking up on the end of the quarter here. Almost took us by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to mention this also to the odd. I saw a question here from Trolton Heston, and you answered it quite quickly. But I want to make sure that everybody that's hearing this audio, all current $2 level peeps will get the magnet, because I felt terrible about how the stickers turned out, and I want to make sure that everybody gets one of these. This is super legit and totally sweet, and it's going to be amazing. So everybody's going to get them. But if you're a $1, you're not going to get this. Now I understand that you got to give based on what you can, but we love the $1. But the $2, you step it up that extra $4 a month, you get one of these. So boom. Last we're going to say about that Brushhead Gallery, John. We got one coming up.
Yep.
When do you want to do this?
I'm thinking the second Sunday in October because that gives us 2 weeks because next Sunday is October.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. Second weekend in October, get your Brushhead Gallery entrances in. We're going to do some, I'll put in some of my pictures from some of the things I've painted recently. I've got a completed Helena battle box that I can show off and that kind of stuff. John, if you've got anything that you get a chance to paint to, I know you're still in transition, and that's totally legit and super sweet.
Actually, my calves are almost done. I got a couple other. I'll get pictures of something up there.
Awesome. So make sure you get them in there. Put them into PwMenoffJohn@gmail.com. Please, 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 in the subject, put in Brushhead Gallery. Brushhead, by the way, is one word. Brushhead Gallery. And that way I can find them. And if it's not in the subject, it makes it very difficult for me to do my search on the Googles and find all that.
We get so
stuff.
many emails.
Well, it
No.
actually happens that one dumps into my other one, and then it actually do get to be kind of difficult to find. So there you go. Brushhead Gallery.
Make it sound more popular.
Well, we're pretty popular. We're popular enough, and that's all that matters. And then John, we did another thing as well. We put up a poll of the show, and we're not going to forget about it this time.
No, we're not.
Boom, there it is. I heard there was a tournament this weekend, John.
Little one, nothing big.
Yeah, there you go. You send the pictures to PwMenoffJohn@gmail.com. It's pretty hard to remember, but there you go. And you send those things in, and then we'll get it up. So, what John Spencer just put there in the chat room. Okay, so we asked the question, Flash show poll of the show, and John, Flash is a euphemism for John forgot to put it up Saturday.
So, okay, you still got 52. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, we're doing great. And so what the question was, what is the biggest surprise of the WTC so far? And this went up in the morning time, and I put it up for 8 hours so that it would last until the afternoon. So this spanned the last few rounds of the WTC. So number one, we asked 4 questions. First off, the first question we said was, well, one of the biggest surprises could have been Tom Guan playing for Australia. So he's from China, lived in the United States, played for the United States, then went to Australia, now playing for Australia, and so I thought that was surprising. Then the second one was the USA being out of contention by round 4, which I didn't feel good about putting up, but I put it up anyway. Bubba's Karchev play surprised no one. So it turns out Bubba's good at this game, and his play with Karchev did a good thing. I thought the last one had the early lead, which is no Painting with Men Off John alternate audio stream. So let me tell you why there was no Painting with Men Off John alternate audio stream for this particular tournament. One was I didn't feel like giving up my weekend for this. And this was it's a big deal. We don't really have a lot to say about it usually. And I had a lot going on this weekend. I had my kids. Belinda and I didn't spend a whole lot of time during the week because we were both busy. And I thought that I would take the weekend to be me. So there you go. The other reason is Enter the Crucible guys are super sweet and totally legit. And I like them. And I didn't feel like trolling them. I didn't want to hurt their feelings or make it even at least at the slightest bit seem like I was dissing their efforts. Because they are very nice guys. However, Privateer Press, when we get around to whenever the next time they decide to do a live stream is, you betcha there'll be a Painting with Men Off John alternate audio stream. We're going to do that. And it's going to be fun, and it'll be legit. But the one that won, John, was USA being out of contention in round 4. And I've got some thoughts on this, and maybe you do, too.
I also do.
Well, John, I've been talking a lot. Why don't you lead us out of this?
Well, I mean, it's surprising, but it really shouldn't be because, A, we've got 3 teams to fill, and B, a lot of the big-name players took a step back to let everyone else go.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that's a reason. Those guys playing are still great players and still could take the whole thing home, but we're not trying to build like the super team. We're trying to build 3 competitive teams and let a lot of people get a chance in there.
Absolutely, and that's great, and that actually leads in very nicely into my thoughts on it. 3 teams looks like a strategy that didn't necessarily vault your team to the front, and there were a couple countries that had 3 teams. I believe Australia had 2, and I believe the United States had 3 teams. I know that England had 3 teams. I'm not sure who else did, but those teams, I think they got to the point, given the level of competition that exists at the WTC, I think you got to a dilution point where the teams that maybe stayed at 2 teams had enough concentrated high-level talent that the dilution factor became more evident than it might otherwise have. All 3 teams from the United States had wonderful players on it. All 3 teams from England, I'm sure, although I don't know them personally, I'm sure they have wonderful players on them. But when you can put together concentrated teams that have, that really concentrate the highest of the highest levels, whatever that means, perhaps it becomes somewhat difficult to be completely successful. So my prediction for WTC 2017 is that there will be no 3-team teams.
Australia actually had 3 teams.
Australia did have 3 teams. Well, they're just better. They're just better as a country then. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of luck and a lot of. I mean, this is still a game of dice. There's a lot of luck and spur of the moment goes in. Apparently, Colin Hill got some amazing assassination off towards the end of his game that pulled him out and said otherwise he was not thinking he was going to win that game.
I watched exactly none of it.
Yeah.
I tuned it in for like 5 minutes on Saturday, and Ben Farmer happened to be in the chat room, so that was legit. By the way, folks, if you're not subscribed to the Shoulda Turned Left YouTube, subscribe. On Wednesday, I'm going to be recording an episode with them where they played Una 2 versus the fake army that was part of the playtest application.
Oh my.
Yeah, fucking legit. So there you go, folks. Get your Una 2 fix coming to You Shoulda Turned Left. Shoulda Turned Left. So anyway, so that's the poll of the show. Congratulations to Australia. Congratulations to Canada. The Canadian Goose, I think, was the one that did the best with King of the North, Bubba Dalton. So on behalf of the Painting with My Mouth John show, to all the WTC participants, hey, Ron.
Ron.
There, let's get that off there.
And so we're not being favoritism. Congratulations to Team Germany Black for getting second also.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm German. So, Guten Tag. Wie geht's? Erschlaft auf zwei Kopfkissen. There. That means I sleep on 2 pillows. So that's what I remember. That's what I remember from middle school German when I took it.
I didn't even have the option for German. It was French or Spanish.
Yeah, I should have taken Spanish.
I should have taken more Spanish.
I should have taken all the Spanish in the universe, and I'm trying to convince that to my children, and they won't listen to me. So anyway, we talked about John Con, we talked about Brushhead Gallery, talked about Patreon, pull the show. You know what time it is then, John?
It's time for the business.
It's time for the business. We're running a little bit long, but that's okay. It's our prerogative. Yeah. It's my prerogative. I'm gonna get my dance on here.
Bobby Brown.
There you go. You know, John, we have sponsors to this show, and God knows why.
They love our style.
They do love our style. And you know what else has style, John? That would be Flight Medic Painting. You know, when you go to Michigan, there are lots of things that you can do. In Michigan, you can experience many different things. If you go to the Upper Peninsula, you can have something called a pasty, which is like if a calzone met a stew. It's kind of like that. You put a stew inside of a calzone, and you've got a pasty. It's delicious. It's fucking delicious.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah,
great.
It's like a pizza and a shepherd pie had a love fest. It's amazing. When you go to the southern part of Michigan, you can go to Flint, and you can experience heavy metal in your water. And so that's another thing you can do in Michigan. But the best thing you can do in Michigan, other than you could see Tracy Carter. That's totally amazing. But you could visit with Brush Medic Painting if you were in Michigan. You know, the best way to find brushhead painting in Michigan is to follow the straight green lines, because that is what Flight Medic Painting is going to do for you. You know, they have longitudes and latitudes in Michigan. Were you aware of that, John?
I was aware of that. Those things are all over the place.
They can, and some of them are in Michigan. And the best ones lead you to Flight Medic Painting. You know, that guy, he can shade the shit out of stuff. He'll put paint on his brush. He'll make some of it dark, some of it light, and it'll turn out amazing. And in 2 weeks, we're going to see new stuff from Flight Medic Painting, but he's not going to paint anything for you because he's decided that he's busy. So if you want anything from Flight Medic Painting, you better back up a fucking truckload of money at him, and he's still not going to paint at you. But Flight Medic Painting, get over there to his blog over at flightmedicpaints.blogspot.com. 10 out of 10 dentists approve of that particular blog, and the 11th one can go to hell. So there you go, Flight Medic Painting. You know, in Canada, they make Sword de Liege. They have moose running all over the place. They've got Mounties. They have border crossings, and then they have Greenleaf Terrain. And Greenleaf Terrain uses resin in ways that only spooky people understand. You know, spooky people will go on these ghost hunts that will take them to places like this abandoned, insane asylums. And sometimes if you look hard into Greenleaf Terrain, you too can see infinity. Because he makes terrain for the game Infinity. And that is one of the things that he'll do. Did you know, John, that in Canada they have free healthcare and a metric system?
I was aware of those things.
I wonder if we were to adopt the metric system, if we would get free healthcare.
I think they're not related, but I could be wrong.
Greenleaf Terrain is in favor of free healthcare, so they should get your vote for all your 3D terrain. I'm pretty sure he does. He hasn't told me he likes free healthcare, but I would guess why wouldn't you? Because otherwise it's expensive, and maybe you'll die. So if you don't want to die, get on over to Greenleaf Terrain. That's Adam at greenleafterrain.com. He's super legit and totally sweet. But you know what else is sweet, John?
Oh, a lot of things. Let's go with Care Multicase, the Butterfoam.
Oh, sweet cream And the best thing you can make out of sweet cream is butter. And the best thing about butter is KR Multicase. Do you know if you were to... I got a model right here. Do you know this model right here is made out of plastic?
I'll take your word for it.
It is. I will put it closer. You can probably see the plastic right through the internet. There it is. All, plastic. Plastic is not made out of butter. But one thing that it does recognize is that this model right here hasn't been in butter foam. And I'm going to ask it a question. Model, would you like to be placed in KR Multicase? Oh, my God. It'd be the best thing ever. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to be in some KR Multicase. Shit, John. If you don't put me in KR Multicase, I'll shit myself. All right, well, just calm down. Not so much profanity. We have people from the D6 generation that listen to this podcast, and we don't want to offend them. Fuck them. Anyway, so there you go. A model that's not even been in KR Multicase knows that it wants to be there. If your model hasn't been in a KR Multicase, you're fucking abusing it, and you're a monster. Anyway, Rabbleboom, if you put your models in Rabbleboom, you might as well vote for Trump. I can't even tell you where to start. So this model hasn't been in KR Multicase either. What the fuck, man, John? Why didn't you put me in the... after the show. Hang on, just a second. I've got some goddamn KR Multicase right here. All right, folks, this is Butterfoam. You're going to hear it for the first time ever on live television on the internet. This is blue foam from KR Multicase. We're going to put this in this model for the first time. This model has never gone in. Did you hear that? You can't make it up, folks. Your models. Let's put Malekus the Burning Itch in for the first time. See what he has to say. Holy shit, it continues. KR Multicase, they know that they sponsor this show, and they didn't send us a cease and desist. So there you go. If you want to order KR Multicase, it comes in blue, and it comes in orange and yellow and pink, but it's all saturated with the butter. Look at this. I'm hitting it, and it springs right back, just like butter. If you find some butter and hit it, so it'll probably spring back, I would assume. Took off my slippers. I can't get them back on. God damn it. Now I got one cold foot and one warm foot. Anyway, so lastly, Clockwork Phoenix Games. Hey, DC, he was with us last week, and he talked about that Shadow Games. He's working on the Guild Ball, too. So Clockwork Phoenix Games, they are getting folded into the Steam Forged world, and we appreciate their support. For John Con, because thanks to Clockwork Phoenix Game, the #1 donator from anywhere that's there, if they come to John Con, the #1 donator, they're going to get a 10th anniversary Hordes box, the wood one, for giving all the money and to the poor people, and that's thanks to Clockwork Phoenix Games, who have nothing to do with Privateer Press, but he had one and he gave it to us. So there you go.
That's sweet.
Anyway, so that's the business, John. How do we do? Do you think 10 out of 10?
5 out of 7. Would listen again.
Oh, my God. It's better than Cats, folks. This KR Multicase, I could put the podcast in this show, and fucking people it would be legit. People would receive the podcast in better condition than ever before. It wouldn't break anything.
It would sound better than when we recorded it.
Listen to this. You can hear it. Rabbleboom would have sounded like the sound of all your models breaking into little pieces, but not with Butterfoam. That shit's legit. They love us, by the way, because they know that they sponsor us. That's a way you can tell that a company loves you, is if they know that they sponsor you.
We forgot to ask DC if he knew that he sponsored us.
I'm pretty sure. I think he knows. God, he might not. So there you go. Let's see here. Just an FYI, if you think that case foam is expensive, it is, because the uncut foam is expensive to the manufacturer. It's expensive. There's nothing. But, they infused this with the milk of 400 cows or something like that. There's polymers in this. That's high-tech shit. You could put polymers. John, did we go to the moon without polymers?
No, we did not.
No, this shit is like stuff we sent to the moon. You know, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would use polymers in much the same way that we do, because maybe they've got models that they play with. I would guess that Daisy does. Daisy looks like a miniatures gamer. So there you go. Especially Mac. Anybody with big muscles, he plays miniatures because he's used to carrying big stuff around. That guy. Anyway, so there you go. We'd sacrifice a virgin cow for multi-case. Yeah, hell yeah. Anyway, so that's our business. I hope that our sponsors appreciate all the hard work we put into their marketing, because we market the shit out of it.
It cannot be easy being that batshit crazy.
No, it's not. I'm on a roll. I'm on such a roll. I must be KR Multicase. All right, folks. We're going to exercise the movie rights to this podcast someday when somebody offers us money. But until then, we're just going to be a podcast and stuff. So we're going to paint tonight, and that means I'm going to put this on the painting cam. Shit. All right, there we go. We're on the painting cam. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust this. We're going to use, John, we use horizontals and verticals during the course of this podcast.
Screw you, Rod Sterling. We control that.
Yeah. All right. So this is Malekus the Burning Itch, and he is the battle box caster for the Protectorate of Menoth. I am Menoth, John. I am the president for life of War Machine and Hordes. So I decided that in a shocking turn of events that I would paint Protectorate for the Journeyman League, mostly because I had already painted Helena for Retribution, and I like my Retribution right now a little bit more than I like my Protectorate, but I like my Protectorate a lot. So we're gonna paint this, and the thing that we want to talk about while I am painting is about Journeyman Leagues. John, you have far more experience with Journeyman Leagues than I do.
Yeah, I've run a ton, played in a ton. They're generally a good time. Well, usually a good time, let's say.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about. No, his first name is not Herpes Hooten the Fisherman. By the way, Hooten the Fisherman gets our official best initial show up of the night, because I don't remember seeing Hoot in the chat room before. So we're happy you're here. And apparently I haven't used bootstrap leather in too long, and my dropper bottle has decided to go AWOL. So that means we're going to have to lance it with the paper clip of love. The paper clip of love.
Always keep paper clips or push pins. Push pins are good too.
Yeah, paper clip of love, brought to you by none of the sponsors. All right.
None of the sponsors. They don't sell paper clips, but
brought to you by Office Max, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Office Depot. Which one's still in business. I'm not sure which one's still in business.
I use push pins because I have 1 or 7.
That's a lot of push pins. I don't have any cork board in the house, or I would have that many. Because when I
don't have any cork board either. I just have push pins.
Oh, I see what you did there. All right, so we are going to exercise the use of a wet palette. Now, we've talked about wet palettes before on the show. If you aren't using a wet palette, perhaps you paid too much. We are going to go ahead and I have envisioned this particular book that the Burning Itch is reading as having a leather bound. Now, we were talking about Journeyman Leagues, John. So tell us a little bit about some of the Journeyman Leagues you've been involved in.
Well, early on I played in a lot of Journeyman Leagues that were just standard out-of-the-book Journeyman Leagues, out of the rules packet in this case. And those are perfectly fine. Most people will do the alternate where you can play with whatever you want, but officially you'd have to use one of their either battle boxes or one of their what they'd call approved battle boxes substitutes.
Where do you fall on that particular subject as far as the flexibility angle?
Right now, I would say for this time only, it is okay to do the must use one of the battle box substitutes only. Sorry, Mercs and Minions players, we get screwed out of this one, but because there are all new battle boxes for everyone.
Yeah, so what you're saying here is in this case, I mean, usually you would want to say, hey, play. You have you prefer the flexibility angle, and in this case, because of all the new battle boxes coming out, that you would recommend going with the approved one, the actual one out of the rule books.
Well, I'll be honest, I would never actually go for it just because the rules are inherently flawed and required people to be way more gentlemanly than you can expect from a game store that's not going to put a lot of people into reining people in. I mean, it's not really. They're just there just to get people in. They don't. I mean, here's your rules. Go. That's what they're looking at. I don't blame them for that, but the rules have some inherent flaws, unfortunately. And I don't want to sound negative. I mean, every rule set's got some flaws, and theirs is just. I mean, it's.
That's interesting. I would like your perspective on that, John, because we at Games Universe, where I call home these days, that we are playing the out of the rule set version. Where do you feel like the flaws are?
Well, I mean, if you're playing out of the rule set, then they've changed stuff since the last time I've looked at them, because officially there's nothing that says you can't just paint as much as you want.
Oh, that's definitely changed in this new one.
Yeah, that's good, because that was a big error. We had a guy at Drop Zone back in the day who had a bunch of models from just doing stuff for stores and all, and he painted enough models that he could match the maximum battle points any person could get if they played and won every game that they were allowed to.
Yeah, that is definitely out. You are only allowed to claim paint points on a one model per week basis.
I actually don't have a problem with that. I like the one I did a little better, obviously, because I did it. But,
sure.
But that's actually perfectly good.
Yeah, and they've also done a thing where the number of games that you win per week counts towards something like annihilation points or something like that, where if you are the most wins of the week, you get 1 point for that week. And what that does is that the concept, as I understand it, is that back in the day you could win like 20 games in the first week and then not show up for 6 weeks and still win the league. This is the person who wins the league has to have the most wins for a majority of the weeks.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting rule set. I mean, it sounds actually a lot. They've done a lot of easy balance things, which I like. I mean, you got to have that balance. Like PG Semi-Automatic says, new rules are not paint to win, which is good.
Yeah.
Ours were always limited number of games per week, and then limited number of swapping what you're playing with.
Right, and that's actually one of the challenges that I've really seen in playing in this. This is my first one I've ever played in, and so one of the things that's really struck me is that it's more restrictive than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a tough line to take. You don't want to be too restrictive, because if you're too restrictive, you hurt the player and the store. The player, because he can't branch out when like, oh, this unit was not a good choice, I need to get it out of here. And the store, because if you can only use certain things, you're only going to buy certain things, no matter what your income is.
Right, exactly. And the thing that struck me was that so I didn't understand when I was playing at Games Universe, and this is underneath the new rules, the current version, was that, of course, one of the things about a Journeyman League is that you have to, the models that you play in a week are the ones that they have to carry over to the next week. And we started with the Battle Box, which for the Burning Itch is a Castigator, which is the two-fisted combusty guy. Then a Revenger, which is the Arc Node with the Pokey Stick, and the Repenter, which is the Spray Bot. And so that's what you're taking forward. Now, at Games Universe, they said, let's add 15 points on week 2. And so you take that battle box and you up 15 more points, but they required it to be battle group. So, and when I showed up on week 3, because I was out of town and I couldn't make the first week, I thought it was going to be at that point 25 points, where it was the original battle group plus 20, and then whatever up to 25. And that wasn't the case, because I missed that 1 week where I had to add the Jack, and it caught me off guard, and I had Idrians in my list. Guess what doesn't fit into a 25-point list if you've already added 15 points of another Jack into it? Idrians. There are too many goddamn points. So I ended up playing my first game against a person who didn't understand that rule with an illegal list, and I felt terrible about it. But we fixed it for the second game, and Wonky Kong kicked my dick in.
Well, he's not bad, so, I mean, let's be honest. He's a pretty decent player.
I love playing against him, though. I have to be honest with you. He is such a good guy to play against. And I don't mind if he. I absolutely don't mind getting my head kicked in by that guy, because he's a good guy. But it was a big shock to me, and but so it's there was nothing I would wish in the world but to rework my battle group a little bit, because while those are fine jacks to play with Malekus, there are other jacks I would have liked to have subbed in. Like, while that Castigator is a good jack, turns out that the Hand of Judgment would have been really super sweet to have in there, and he's not coming along for the ride yet. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I find that's one of the weaknesses is if you make it so that you can't change stuff, you get a little bit of fatigue with what you're playing. You can't try out as much new stuff as you'd like.
yeah.
We always did a version that I'd made up where you can change one unit or solo or warjack out every week.
And you forwarded me those rules, did you not?
I think I did. Yeah, they're if anyone wants them, just find me on Facebook. I'll send them to you. I did a lot of work on them. They're pretty fair. They're a little more complicated than it sounds like these new rules are.
Would you
These
mind?
new rules actually sound like they did a good job of taking the things that were completely unbalanced, getting them out of there, and then boom, here's quick and dirty, but still as fair as you can be with be quick and dirty. So I mean that's good.
Would you be so kind as to post them on PwMenothJohn.com?
Sure, I'm writing a note for that.
So there you go.
Absolutely.
We'll go ahead and get those out there as a blog post on PwMenothJohn.com, because we love and we care. So it's really going good. I'm enjoying it very much. We have 10 players at Games Universe playing in the Journeyman League, and a lot of them are very, very new to the game or are returning from a long absence. And that makes my heart glow. It makes it absolutely glow. Lots of new people to play with, and that is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see a lot of people coming and playing that. We usually had a pretty good turnout at Drop Zone. We haven't had one at games and stuff in a long time because our War Machine crowds actually. You'd think with Mark III that the War Machine crowd would be more, but it's actually less than it was before Mark III.
I kind of get that vibe these days, John, to be honest.
Yeah.
What's going on, you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think some people probably just thought it was going to be a way bigger change than it is because I think it wasn't sold well. We talked about that, in past podcasts. And I think that it wasn't as big of a change. They're like a little burnout, and they're expecting this ginormous change. It wasn't. They're like, I'm burnt out. Let me take a little break.
Take a little break. Take a little look at some other games that are available out on the market. We talked about some of the plethora of different miniatures games that are out there right now, and it is a time right now that is really a great time to be a miniatures gamer.
Yeah, absolutely. There's tons of stuff. None of them have as good of. None of them even have a slow grow sort of beginners league like a Journeyman that have rules. So I mean, Privateer Press is really an innovator on that, which is good.
Yeah.
And all the rules changes you guys talked about sound great. So I mean, it's good. And honestly, you should play in a Journeyman if you can, because your PG Automatic, Magic and I are in the chat room are talking about and Brush Chewer how you don't want to change the models too much so you get good with them. Because honestly, playing a model again and again gets you some familiarity, and that's one of the main things you're going to get out of a Journeyman League.
It really is, and that is something that I joined this Journeyman League mostly to prevent myself from doing what I did with Anson Durst, which is Anson Durst was the caster that came out for Protectorate prior to Malekus, and I built him and I painted him, and I've never played him. Not even once. And the main reason was I purchased him back when I was heavy into Trolls towards the end of Mark II. And I fell in love with playing a lot of different things on Protectorate and with Retribution, and especially Retribution at first. And I haven't ever gotten back to him. And now I've got Malekus, and I really didn't want the same thing to happen with him, where I got thinking about other things. I mean, Durant 2 is a powerful drug. There's no two ways about it. That caster is amazing and super fun. But this Journeyman League is causing me to discover. And I know Brush Chewer and I chat quite a lot during the course of the week, and she is a strong proponent of Malekus. And so I really wanted to find a way that would kind of force me to get out of my comfort zone and try something different. And the Journeyman League gets me to there. Have I played a Castigator in if you look at Mark II, I have played more games with a Castigator in Mark III than I've played in a Castigator with Mark II in the entire history of Mark II. And he's good.
Yeah, that's something. That's one of the good things that came out of a Journeyman League is learning how to use those models that you wouldn't have taken otherwise.
Yep, for sure. So, and it also gave me an opportunity to get this Revenger, which is the Arc Node Jack for Protectorate, painted up. And I have 2 Revengers already, but I'll be very honest with you. The first Revenger came with my original battle box that I bought in 2008. My painting skills, John, were not where they are today back in 2008. And so it's also broken about a half a dozen times too. And the pokey part has fallen off about a dozen times. So, because metal.
Yeah.
It does.
Once it breaks, it's
And I've even brass rotted the damn thing now. So, but I've never gotten back.
You pinned something?
Yup.
What?
Actually, I didn't technically pin it. I made the whole thing a brass rod.
Okay, that's better. I'm okay.
Thank you. I know, right? I didn't want to blow anybody. We could have lost 15 or 20 listeners right then. Do we even have 15 or 20 listeners right now, John?
Absolutely. We got blackjack.
Nice. 21, you're shitting me. That's awesome. To all 21 of you out there, God bless you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
All right, so now I got to figure out what the fuck. Usually, John, when I'm sitting here and I'm painting a model, I like to have an inspiration piece sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
And I don't have that right now.
I'm with you. If it's not my Merc paint scheme, which I've been doing enough that I know pretty much off the top of my head, I need to have like the test model or my inspiration piece in front of me so I know what the hell color's going where.
I have no idea what I'm doing here. So there may be a point, John, and I'm being very brutally honest with you here. I may get up for a couple minutes and go grab Durant because I have no idea what to do with this guy's armor right now. I'm a little confused. I'm kind of playing it by ear, and that doesn't usually work out too terribly well.
Yeah, but so back to Journeyman's. It's a mixed bag. We were talking about not being able to change models in your list, and that's sort of a mixed bag. It's good because it prevents people from that whole faction and list model ADD.
Yep.
But it also does hurt somebody if they make a bad choice, and you have to balance that when you're running a Journeyman. Do you want that, learn how to play something, or do you want to have a backup plan in case they choose something poor?
And it's nice for especially a very new player that they get their battle box and they get to play with their brand new toys. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't force them at least too terribly hard. At least you're not buying a bunch of new jacks right away. So
yeah.
At least you got that going for you.
So I mean, there's a lot of ways to run it. Like I said, I'll take a look at the new rules. They seem like they'd be decent. I am generally, as you said, as you hinted to earlier, I'm not a big fan in general of the you must play one of their combinations.
Yep.
Because that hurts. So one of the things about Journeyman Leagues is getting the veterans to come in and play.
Yes.
If there is not a battle box that has just been released for the faction that this guy wants to play, maybe you don't get the veteran then. And I don't think that's worth it, unless the veteran's really willing to start a new army, which they aren't always.
No, and
you got to hope. You got to hope that they just want to play old shit they've played before, and that's not going to happen a lot.
And to be very honest, that was the biggest reason why this is my first Journeyman League, is that I did not have a strong burning desire to see what I did there. Burning desire. I did not have a strong burning desire to play another to get in one because I didn't have a faction I wanted to buy a battle box for.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to play Sevi 1 or Krios 1 again for Menoth? Do you want to play Madrak 1 again for Trolls? Do you want to play Kalissa again for Ret? I mean, maybe Kalissa, she's one of the most fun, but for a veteran player against new players, she is a kick in the dick.
Yeah, she's tough. She's a lot of
Even
work.
in Mark 2, Mark 3, I imagine she's just as bad.
Oh yeah, she's for reals, yo. And so I mean, for me, nothing really inspired me to want to be a part of a Journeyman League. And then, with all these new BattleBox casters, I had a real need to get into. I wanted to play Malekus. I was probably going to wait until he became released as a model, but then, I had just come to the new store, and I wanted to, show my support for the new store, so I bought the BattleBox.
Yeah. As a veteran player, if you can make it, just show up and play. I mean, sure, if they've got the restrictive version, you may not be able to play what you want, but maybe there's something you can learn. Make sure what you add is stuff you haven't used before. I mean, you can get some value out of it even as an experienced player. Plus, you'll be given some experience to newer players because you'll know all the tricks. It'll be all good.
Yep.
But again, that being said, I prefer a more free version where you can play. You just have a little more variety.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do at the store too. Is that I'm trying to, show some of the newer players or some of the returning players, what I know about how the rule set has changed, and trying to be a force for good and a teaching force at the game store.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I played in the last Journeyman League that happened at games and stuff. I brought Red. I actually brought Thyron since they let us take whatever caster we wanted.
Nice.
Because I hadn't played Thyron, so that's where I got most of my experience with him. And that's actually great. If you just allow people to play whatever caster they want, you'll find that you'll get a lot of the veterans in, and they'll want to help out because they get to play that new caster that just came out for maybe one of their factions.
You really got to offer something to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that original rule set is a little restrictive around that. Cool. I'm having a lot of fun painting old Malekus here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So that's what I'm doing with Journeyman, and I thought it'd be good to talk about it. John, we had some questions about Journeyman Leagues in particular in some of the question threads that we put out there. John, why don't we touch on those first?
Sure. We had one in the chat room from PG Semi-Auto Magic, and he wanted to know what your thoughts on the Troll Bloods Battle Group box.
So what's in the Troll Bloods Battle Group box now? I know it's Ragnar,
back
right?
like I've already pulled it up in the internet or something.
Oh snap! What's in it, buddy?
Yeah. Ragnar, an Impaler, an Axer, and a Bouncer.
I think it's a damn good battle box, to be honest with you. The reason I like it is that I haven't done a lot of list creation for trolls here in Mark III. I'll be very honest with you. Almost every list that I've created so far has a Bouncer in it. And I wish that there was a heavy that came with it because a heavy is important.
Yeah.
And that definitely holds it back a little bit. The fact that it's got a Bouncer is a model that new players are going to find in a lot of their lists. With that thing having a chain weapon and the shield guard, I think is something that's going to really make troll players happy long term that they've got it in their stable. What do you think? And Ragnar's just a top-notch caster on top of everything else. He's showing himself to be one of the A-list casters in there. I think that the inclusion of the Impaler is interesting, but I'm not excited about it. I don't think the Impaler is going to see near the play in Mark III that it did in Mark II because of Farstrike becoming a self-animus. I think that's where they may have missed the boat a little bit. But the Axer is a great beast with Rush being an animus that you just want to have in your list if you can. What are your thoughts, John?
So I've played the troll. I've played the troll battle box. It is terrible. Having only lights in an era of heavies would be even worse. But even back in the day, I mean, even the Axer doesn't have the oomph to get through a heavy.
No,
I mean, for Christ's sakes, you're looking at the potential of let's say worst case, you're playing a mercenary player who's got a Mangler and a Rover. Your dice -5 or 6. You can't.
Yeah.
You're literally stuck with assassination. And while I understand that they're limited by what they can fit points wise in there and what they have, but you just can't do all lights. It's just terrible.
Yeah, they really do need a mauler
Yeah.
in that box. And the mauler is such a good. He fixes a lot of problems with if they're with the lights not being able to maybe cut through a lot of the warjacks with heavier armor because of the rage animus. I don't know.
Yep.
You're right, John. I can see where that would really hold it back a lot.
Yeah, they need they say apparently so Ragnar gets +2 strength, which is good, but it still only makes it PAL 16. You hand me a PAL 16 model against a real heavy, and you're still at a disadvantage. If they had that in some other way, so you taught the guy how to combo it up for his lights to kill heavies, absolutely, that'd be awesome. But that's not there. So you're literally hoping you can trade. Oh, you really? Yeah, there's just no way. I mean, you're literally looking at assassination as most of your things. Especially if they got anything. I mean, look at, like I said, the Magnus 1 is the one I think is the most egregious. He's got an armor buff, for fuck's sake. So, best case, you're up against a Mauler who you need 5s to hit, and then with your strength buff and his armor buff, you're still dice -5.
Yeah, I can see your point.
You're just
John.
whittling away, and he's going to choose what column it goes in, and that's it's not good. And it's really the only battle box I used to look at and go like, it's just not good.
Yeah, I can see your point, John.
It's the only. I mean, the caster's amazing, and you love those beasts. If you're getting into trolls, those are all beasts you're going to use. So as a tool for getting into trolls, it's great. As something you actually have to play together all the time, yee.
Yeah, I can see.
I
your
mean, that's
point.
why with the rule, like, you have to have 15 points. Does 15 points give you a troll heavy?
Might get you a mauler.
I assume it gets you one of the troll heavies, because anything would be better. But
It probably gets you a mauler.
So that wouldn't be bad. But yeah, so I think as for the journeyman wise, it is not good. For overall wise, it's fine.
Yeah, but if your introduction to the game is coming through the battle box, then it's gonna be a tough road to hoe.
Yep. And Trollton points out it is better than the original one, which has a bouncer and not 2 impalers rather than 1.
Yep.
That was like the duplicate of the same beast, which the Circle original one and the Troll original one had problems with, and to a lesser extent the Legion one, but you're going to use multiple shredders, so it's not as bad. Was really kind of inexperience on PP's part showing through.
Cool.
So next one on Journeyman Leagues, I'm sure there is one here. Where we got?
There was one. There were a couple that came in through the Facebooks. I know.
Actually, don't. So Tracy Carter asked, "What's the biggest mistake to make in a Journeyman League?"
I think the biggest mistake to make in a Journeyman League is to get super clutched up about how you're performing in it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry if things aren't working for you, because the restrictions that the Journeyman League rules put on you are artificial compared to every other experience that you're going to have with the game. So while they are excellent tools for teaching you the game and introducing you maybe to a new faction, that is not indicative of how you might decide to make your lists in the future. So don't let it get you down. Would be my advice. So the biggest mistake for me, I think, in a Journeyman League is to take it too seriously and to judge too harshly your performance based on and the performance of your faction based on your performance in that.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest mistake you can do in a Journeyman is going in there with models you have intimate familiarity with. A lot of veterans do that. They take models they just know backwards and forwards already, and you're not getting anything out of that.
Yep.
You want to take models you have. If you're as a veteran, you want to take models that you haven't used before, and learn those models inside and out, because all it does is add to your skills.
It is a learning league, and it's a great idea. There you go. To learn something new with it.
Brett Painter wants to know, what do you do with your army after the Journeyman League?
Well, you play it. You get your Journeyman League, and maybe some of those models you didn't like. Now that you're out of those restrictions, start try the caster with something that you think makes a little bit more sense. Be experimental coming out of it. Or, take the learning that you've experienced and see how does that list maybe perform in a small steamroller, and experience it with less restrictions and see, if you had a lot of fun with it or if it was very successful for you, see if that success translates into a more open type of a format.
Yeah, I used to end the Journeyman Leagues at Drop Zone with a tournament.
Absolutely.
Which I always let people see. Oh, I see. Now that we get in a real tournament situation, I see things work a little differently, and made good choices, bad choices. A lot of stuff still to learn there.
Absolutely. Sage advice.
All right, next. This is the one you sent me. So this is Kevin on Twitter. He's a Legacy of Gaming, or at a Legacy of Gaming. He says, so if I have 0 painting supplies and I'm getting started, is there any reason not to go with an airbrush from the get-go?
So this is one that came from, it was actually originally directed to myself and the D6 generation, because Russ Wakeland has recently purchased an airbrush and has been very open with his chronicling of his experiences. So I wanted to bring this up on the show because I thought it was a really good question and one that I thought would benefit from talking about. So the question here goes, well, if you've got if you have no resource, prior painting resources, is there any reason to not start off with an airbrush right away? And I would say the reason to not start with an airbrush right away is that you need to find out whether or not painting is the hobby for you. There is a lot of money that you will tie up in going with going with an airbrush right away, that if it turns out that miniature painting is not something that fires your loins, so to speak, that you will tie up, probably good solid $200, $300 in an airbrushing outfit that you will then have very limited use of. And that's, unless you're made out of money, that's a foolish spend. So now I will be the first to tell you, I find I find painting with an airbrush very rewarding. It's very quick I love what it does for me with my base coats. Being able to lay down a really fast, even base coat is super rewarding, and it gets me more quickly to the part of the paint job that I enjoy quite a bit more, and that's the detail work. So that for me is a big reason why I do what I do. But you really should start with a basic set of good paint that's actual modeling paint. P3, the faction starter paint sets. If you're going to go with a painting scheme that is a studio standard, is a great place to start. Otherwise, get yourself a handful of paints that are along the direction that you want, and learn to paint that way. It may turn out the painting is not for you, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But better to find that out before you invest a bajillion space bucks in an airbrush and a bunch of other things. John, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've never used an airbrush, and I actually think you definitely should not start with an airbrush. Originally, I was considering the thought that maybe you should, but thinking about it more, you should not. Because part of realizing if you're cut out for painting models is painting all that stuff by hand the first couple times.
Yep, I agree.
You also learn a lot from that. You learn a lot about how the paint flows, how the paint works, tips and tricks that people may not have mentioned. You learn a lot real quick in your first several models. And while jumping in an airbrush wouldn't necessarily be bad, when you go back to start painting details, you need to know all that stuff.
You need to have brush control, and you don't develop brush control with an airbrush.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like any skill. You build upon everything that came before it, and you're skipping into an advanced thing. And unless you just happen to rare people who are very adept to begin with, or maybe you just had an artistic background to begin with, I don't think it's worth it. I think it's gonna hurt your growth more than help it.
I don't disagree with that viewpoint at all. It's a lot of what we try to teach here is you start off with the basics and then you move up to the more advanced techniques. It would be like trying to start with two-brush blending before you've learned how to base coat, wash, and dry brush. It's as you say, John. It builds in a specific sort of pattern, and you want to develop those early skills first. You don't start slamming, unless you're really tall, slamming basketballs. You start off by learning how to shoot free throws or how to do simple push shots. It's the same thing with painting.
Exactly. It's like skills are important to build the right way, because you don't build them the right way. It takes a long time to develop them afterwards, because you're sort of going back and adding stuff, which is harder for the human mind to work with.
Perfect. Yeah, so I wanted, at first, John, I was kind of thinking the same thing you were. Maybe I thought to myself when I first read this tweet, and I'm glad I didn't respond to it without thinking about it for a while. I was thinking, yeah, an airbrush, why wouldn't you get into it? Because it makes the drudgery go away so fast. But I think there's a lot of reasons to not do it, because you set yourself, I think, up for perhaps unrealistic understanding of what this hobby's about, and you don't develop that the basics the way you need to.
Yeah, I've painted one battle engine and most of a colossal and so much other stuff, including like some super heavies for GW by hand, no airbrush, and you learn a lot, and you develop skills, you learn stuff, and it takes a lot of patience. It lets you know, are you cut out for this?
Yep, this podcast was built on the back of a judicator.
Yep.
But by hand judicator, and I'll tell you, I'm glad I did it once, and I'll never do it again. But it's a thing to do, and once you do get to the point where you've painted some models, and maybe you want to step up to that $200 or so, boom, in 15 minutes, and it's coming right along. Now I'm going to do silver medals next, and I'm doing the thing that you should do with a miniature. You paint from the inside out, and you go that way. It's gonna be super legit when it's done. By the way, I learned with paint. This is an airbrush paint. It's the innards from Minotaur. That's the base coat on this, and boy, did I learn a lesson by doing the castigator, and that is, don't judge your model till it's sealed, because all this shiny shit went away as soon as I sealed it, and it went, oh, that looks a lot better.
It's the number one thing. Don't judge it until you're actually done. Keep your chin up. Keep going. When you get to that done point, everything changes. When you put that wash on, everything starts to change. You start going, yeah, this isn't as crap as I thought it was.
Gary Smith, who's our official graphic artist for the Painting with Malekus John show, said he was super appreciated all the nice words we said about him and how awesome his stuff is. So
Awesome.
of course we'd say nice things about you, buddy. You're an official graphic artist of the Painting with Malekus John show. Gary, woohoo! Hey, Ron.
Ron.
So how many people are watching this now, John?
26.
Yay! This is like feeling like the old days.
Yeah, so Gary Smith actually had a question in Facebook, a little late, but still got it in.
All right, Gary.
He's been on a War Machine hiatus for over a year, and the meta change has him less than time to go back, mainly because of the LGS he's dealing with.
Happens.
How long is too long to go back, or should he just suck it up and dive back in?
Well, I mean, you should go back whenever you feel like going back. Is my first comment, is that it's never too late to get back into a game that you enjoyed. So I would say just get out there and play, and you should just suck it up and get out there, find some people and find an LGS that has a community and become part of them. And you'll not regret it. The War Machine Horde still continues to have a fantastic group of people to play this game, and I'm always amazed at all the wonderful people that I've met through this game, and they're hell, John, look at it. We got Brush Chewer, and she's from Scotland, and Nick Van Slagmet, and he is I know a guy that works for Lego now because I met Nick. And I met it through War Machine, and I wouldn't trade the experiences. Yeah, I've had a couple negative ones. So what? F those guys.
Yep.
9 out of 10 dentists say fuck that guy, and the 10th guy, fuck him. And so I've had wonderful experiences, and I've met you, and I've met lots of wonderful people. And, we've had the podcast has been a wonderful part of my life, and I'm very happy for it. So Get out there. You never know who you're going to meet. Could meet somebody that's going to change your life, and you don't even know it. But make sure you're changing your life with KR Multicase or Greenleaf Terrain or Flight Medic Painting or somebody that that sponsors us, and tell us that Menoth John sent you. And then when we change your life, you can become a patron of the Menoth John show, because we prefer the kind, we like the kind that jingle, we prefer the kind that fold. So there you go.
I actually think you should jump right back in, because honestly, if you leave a hobby void in your life of any kind, you'll fill it with other stuff, and your mind will play tricks to yourself like, yeah, I don't miss that at all. And then you go back and you realize, man, I missed the hell out of this.
It's probably going to be like porn and drugs. So if you don't want to be like hooked on drugs, get these guys, because you won't have any money left to buy drugs with. And,
no doubt.
And, then you'll have, you won't have to masturbate as much.
And it's just cheaper enough than magic that you actually have money left for food. So that's good.
Yeah, don't forget to eat. That's
Yes.
our tip for the day here on Painting with Menoth John, is don't forget to eat because of your miniatures. They're not nutritious. Don't eat them either, because that shit will fuck up your system.
Yeah, no. Pewter is not really digestible.
No, nor is the Restic. You might think it's called Restic and it might be resting to your system. No, it's just, no. Fuck you up. Probably made out of. It's probably made from the tails of black scorpions, or something. Could be.
All right. So Chris Everly wants to know, out of the new Warcasters Warlocks, which sculpt do you like the most? And let's get the second part out of the way. If I was looking to jump into Mark III with a new Signar caster, is it a good one to start with?
I think everything I've heard about the new Signar caster has been really positive, John.
Yeah, she's legit.
Yeah, I mean, all the new BattleBox casters are really legit.
Yeah.
I think they did a fantastic job on this round of casters. I think that they... Go ahead, John.
I would actually say that they are more balanced overall to play and to play against each other than the first batch of casters.
Oh, God, yeah. The first BattleBox ones, that Crix box was stupid.
I mean, Menoth wasn't very good either. Sorcerer wasn't very good either. I mean, let's be honest. If you're playing War Machine, you're like, God, Khador, Crix, and Menoth were just like horrific. Because even Strikers plus an armor seems horrific, but it's not as bad as the rest of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, Krios 1 was kind of a one-trick pony, to be honest.
Yeah, but early on, that's a hell of a trick.
It was a great trick, yeah. No doubt about it. What do I think about the new battle boxes? Was that the question?
Which sculpt do you like the most?
Which sculpt do I like the most? I'm an unabashed Doug Hamilton fanboy. Helena's beautiful, and her weapon is cool, and the pose is quite dynamic. I got a thing in my heart for trolls. I think that of the ones that I've seen, I'd say Helena is probably my favorite. What do you think, John?
I would actually say Beth Maddox, because she's the one that made me go, man, I kind of wish I still played Signar. She's super cool.
There you go. Is it because of the rules, John, or is it because of the sculpt itself?
Oh, the sculpt itself. As I looked at the sculpt, I'm like, I dig that model.
Yep, it's a good looking model.
Again, I didn't have anything for my main faction, so. Damn you, Privateer Press!
I would tell you that you guys do deserve the love, though. You guys need to get some new shit, because it's been a while.
It has. November, I will actually care about buying new models again.
What do you get in November?
The Battle Engine.
Oh, yeah, the crawler.
Yeah. I will have two.
I do.
I don't know if it's worth having two, but I will have two.
A friend of mine that's coming to John Con doesn't get much time at all to play anymore, so I think I'm going to be getting some Legion to hang on to for a while. Don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to have to really, really, really put my head around that.
All right. Let's see. Let's get this is what we've asked a lot, but it's a pretty quick one.
Yeah.
What are the most frustrating models you've ever assembled?
Fucking Nis.
This, not close.
Fucking Nis. They're terrible. God. What those things wouldn't do for having... And they'd sell enough of them, god damn it. Put this stuff in polystyrene, would you? and stop with this silliness where it has to be 50 damn parts. Fuckness.
So the smart play would be to make a generic mercenary elf unit that also had the parts in the box, or they could sub the parts in for the box to make them NIS also, so that you get the double use out of it. So it's not just 90% of these mercenary players don't need this box.
Yep.
That's how you do it, PP. You give us another unit, and you get to make NIS in a better format because, yeah, fuck them.
They're terrible.
I head swapped them, and they're still only mediocre.
Yeah, they're bad sculpts that are hard to put together. That's a tough combination.
Yeah, it's not good.
No bueno.
Well, here's one. Since I'm asking him, here's one near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
Charlton Hess knows, what kind of alcohol am I going to buy when I make John Spencer watch the Batman vs Superman Extended Edition?
Something strong.
Yeah, no doubt. Because so apparently, a little story time. We're still talking about doing that. He's going to come over. He's going to bring alcohol. He's going to buy the copy of the Extended Edition. We're going to watch it. We're also going to bring one of my old buddies, Norin, in, who hasn't seen it. And Charlton Heston doesn't drink much, so it's going to be interesting, because I'm sure I can hold my liquor a lot more than he can, and he might be unconscious quickly.
So, could you explain to me how it's 8:15, John?
Time?
Wow. This episode flew by.
The business went long.
It did go long, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit of WTC in there and all that.
Yep.
So let's get a couple quick ones out of the way, because I think our media section is going to be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Robert Drefsky, what are you most looking forward to in the next errata?
Oh, God, that's a really interesting question, John.
I mean, you know all the answers. I mean, you know what's coming out.
I do, but what I'm worried about is what I should reveal and what I shouldn't reveal.
Exactly.
Well, I have to say right now, I think this needs to get out there, is that I have a big plan for Scorn. There is, I've listened to the cries in the wilderness, and to be honest with you, it's against my better judgment that I'm going to do something about Scorn. But there will be major changes for Scorn. I think that, when my research and development, I'm president. I don't think of everything. I've got people. And when the research and development wing of Privateer came to me and said, hey, we got this thing with these elephants. We're going to drop their defense and we're going to make them worse just sort of across the board because they were winning too many tournaments. I should have gone back and checked with various and sundry reporting agencies about how many actual tournaments they had won.
You shouldn't put Trump in charge of that.
Nope. And so I have decided that we are going to be seeing some changes. In the next errata is going to be one of these model reset ones, I think, because I've had some long discussions and some we've used certain techniques, shall we say, that should encourage better model balance. And so I think Scorn is going to be getting some very serious love in the next errata. Look at the possibility of some Fury changes to Elephants and to Dire Trolls. I think you're going to see them go back up one Fury on each of those two different classes. And that's going to be a big deal. As for the biggest changes for War Machine, I think what we're going to see in War Machine is the overall rule sets. We're going to see the throw mechanic change. I think that the reason we haven't seen an errata yet is they're saving that one for the big change that's coming up down the line, and we're going to see the throws to be more like with the deviations from Mark II than what you've had in the past here. This laser guided throw shit, I was disappointed that I didn't catch it when I was reviewing all the rules. I've had a talk with Matt. I gave him a noogie right upside the old Kabanska, what they say there. We say once you give it to the Kabanska, you never go back. And so look for changes to that. And other than that, I'm going to consult with George from who is PG Semi-Automagic, and we'll have some changes in there that involve more Canadian units in the game. So, and by more, that would mean even a single one. But at least we will try to make them more friendly. So there you go, which would be very Canadian. So there you go. That's what I got.
I'm looking forward to Madrak 2, Wormwood, and Throws. They should all be
Madrak 2
balanced properly the next time because
Madrak 2 stupid.
Yeah, it's. But I will honestly say 2 of those things are actively bad for the game, and the last one has a chance of becoming bad for the game.
Which one only has a chance? Because Wormwood would be my guess.
I would actually say Throws. Throws are actually. There are things you can do about them. It's not something people think about or do too often. It's not actively bad for the game, but it should be balanced. I feel like Wormwood, based on what I've seen, and Madrak 2 are actively bad for the game.
Yeah, I have not played Madrak 2, but I heard that Jay surfed to Borka and killed him with 15 Fury left.
Yeah, that does not exist in this game. Like straight up. If that's not changed in the next errata, I'm going to make some serious thoughts.
As president of War Machine and Hordes for Life, I promise that will change.
Good.
I got this. What the hell is that behind me? There's something in there that's coming through on the chroma key, and it's got me flustered, John.
Yeah, there's something right, a little dot there. Huh, weird. One last quick one to get it out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Eberly wants to know, favorite sculpt for an actual war game system that's actually in production?
Favorite sculpt for an actual war game system? Actually, right now, with the war games systems that I have experience with, I would say that the Hand of Judgment for Protectorate is really high up there. The one that is not out yet is the Sea King for Trolls is going to be breathtaking. But other than that, Borka 2? There, what do you think, John?
I'm actually going to delve into Infinity since they make some of the best models in the game. And I was going to say a model, but then I realized it's not actively in production since it was only a promo that came with a painting guide. So I'm going to say the new Alpha Seed Regiment from the Red Veil box for Infinity. That guy is super awesome. Super heavy armor guy. He's got a machine gun with a grenade launcher. But no, he's holding that off to the side. He's firing his heavy pistol at some fool. Because that's how you roll when you're that badass.
I'm going to kill you with my shitty weapon.
Oh, not that shitty.
I'm just saying. Anyway, actually, Hoot and the Fisherman, Berica is just fine. Play him at 35 points with a Mountain King and a Glacier King and a Night Troll and make your opponent cry each and every game.
You mean 50?
No, that fits at 35.
Oh, wow. I didn't think 35 was actually a thing.
50. No, it is 50. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
whatever. Mark 3. Mark 3. We're doing our gang signs now. Anyway, so there you go. Let's do the media section. We've got a few minutes left here. Let's do the media section where we're going to focus on tonight. We think we're going to focus on a little bit of YouTube.
Yeah, something completely different.
Yeah. So, John, do you want me to lead it out, or do you want to lead it out?
Nah, take it away.
All right. So, I've got a couple things that I like to watch on YouTube. I'm going to throw this out. This is a gimme. If you don't know about this already, Gaming with the Cooler is a throwaway. We love Owen, and Owen is a super legit guy, and he does both video gaming and tabletop. So get on out there and check out, see what he's all about. He's from Canada. We love that about him. Also, I'm going to throw out there a real quick one. If you're not aware of this one, this is a very popular channel. This is Good Mythical Morning. These guys put out podcasts, I think, 4 or 5 times a week. Each morning, they have a morning show that they release. They originally they're from the Southeast. They started doing local commercials, was kind of how they got started. And they have a wonderful show, very, very funny guys, Rhett and Link. Super terrific. I'm going to throw in a bonus one, and that is Glove and Boots. Because if you're not watching Glove and Boots, you're missing some of the funniest shit on the internet. They do all kinds of amazing stuff. It's a puppet show. Best puppet show ever. John, let's hear about yours. You said you were talking in the pre-ramble about Frog Leap Studios?
Okay. Well, I agree with all the ones that you mentioned. I watch all of them. I throw out Mini Wargaming
Yeah,
also. I mean,
super fun to
another one that
paint
people
too.
should know, but
Yep, super fun to paint too.
sorry, I'm answering an Infinity question. There we go.
No, that's
Boom.
fine.
Yeah, Frog Leap Studio. I believe he's Norwegian, somewhere Scandinavian, based on clues I've picked up in his videos. He does metal covers of all sorts of songs, and it's great. They're not all strictly metal. He strays a little bit from the metal, but in general, he does metal covers of songs. I heard the metal version of Everything is Awesome, and I'm like, all right, I gotta check this guy out. Saturday, I was teaching L. Marshall how to play Infinity again, since it's been a long time for him. It was in the background. It was just great. All the covers he's done has been pretty amazing. Check him out. He's got like over 1 million subscribers, which is awesome to see that a small musical artist like that's getting so many people watching his videos.
That is
He's
terrific.
got a Patreon and everything too. He makes good stuff. If you just want to hear popular songs in a weird metal sort of fashion, he does great stuff.
If you appreciate a content provider, support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about, and I know that sounds like I'm just trying to plug our own show, but content production is no joke. And while it is a hobby, it is certainly something that takes a lot of thought. And some of these ones are putting a ton of work behind them. Support artists that you like, because they should be supported. So anyway, that's Frog Leap Studios. What else you got for us?
I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Cinema Wins. They're sort of like Cinema Sins. The Screen Junkies do Cinema Sins and what's it called? Honest Trailers, this and other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't mind Honest Trailers, but honestly, the Cinema Sins have started to grate on me a little bit. I don't need that kind of negativity in life. I mean, it's hilarious. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes you don't need that, and the Cinema Wins takes the movies and says everything great about them. I gained new appreciation for Star Trek Into Darkness by watching that and going, yeah, maybe it was a little harsh on that. And sometimes just watching him talk about the stuff he thinks is cool about movies. He just released Captain America Civil War. What was great about it, and it's just cool to watch. It's more uplifting. It's super cool.
Agreed completely.
Yeah.
Positivity is what pulls you through. I mean, there's a lot of times in life where things kind of get you down, and we want you brushheads to understand that we are a force for positivity, and if that makes us Pollyannas, then Pollyannas we are, and that's fine. Guilty as charged.
And then I watched a little bit of Casey Neistat. He's actually a really huge YouTube guy. He's got almost 5 million subscribers.
Wow.
Which is mind-boggling. And he has just a lot of vlogs of him going around, doing whatever. He did I watch him while I'm eating, while I'm cooking, because it's just in the other room, or while I'm eating breakfast or whatever. And he does a lot of vlogs of him just doing whatever he is. He went to Australia for a big YouTube event, and he did, like, this is my day. He videotapes during a day and cuts it together into a video pretty much every day. He pictures video of him on the plane going there in Australia doing fun stuff. The plane back, I mean, he basically went from Australia to Dubai, then back to New York, and he had video of him on the plane on Emirates airline from Dubai to New York, and for some reason they bumped him up to first class, and just seeing that is freaking amazing.
Yeah, Emirates first class, from what I understand, is
Ooh,
off the hook.
It's 20. He said the cheapest he could find a ticket for, looking real quick, was $21,000.
Yeah, they give you a room, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah. You've got a seat, but it closes. It becomes a bed. There's all. Oh my God! It is luxury.
I flew. See, what did I fly? I think it was flying either American or United, which is just a normal run-of-the-mill airline. I was in business class down to Argentina, and I thought I had died and gone to heaven, because my seat turned into a bed, and I had a little pod and all this kind of stuff. It was super incredible. And from what I've seen of pictures of Emirates, it's a whole different thing. Chewer. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I would say check out his from if you want to check it out. 6 days ago, it's about a 9-minute video. His are all about 9 to 12 minutes. He shows you the $21,000 first class airplane seat. Man, it was a hell of a thing to see. But yeah, get the brush to her. She's got a good one there.
Yep. Advanced Maneuvers.
Yep.
Folks, this is a karmically aligned, fully Painting with Menoth John approved podcast. By the way, Dowdark, who is of that particular podcast, is the one that did the graphics you're seeing right now for the media section. He did this for us because Lord knows I can't do Photoshop like this, and created this for us. So he's super sweet and totally legit. Those guys do battle reports the right way. They film the battle report, then they show it to you fast while they talk about it and explain it. You know, the worst thing in battle reports is, turns out, John, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, that War Machine Hordes takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to play.
Yep.
And not all of it is exciting. In fact,
not all of it is. Turn one's generally kind of dull as shit.
In fact, most of it is not exciting. And you've got about probably 10 minutes worth of that actual game that is super legit, where something crazy ass happens. And they really do, they compress it down to about a half an hour, and you get commentary of what they're thinking. It really is the best way to watch a bat rep. Trollton Heston, if you want great production values, Wargamer Girl is as good as it gets. We've had her on the show. Miranda is a wonderful human being. Recently got married. Sorry, guys. And she's super legit and totally sweet. And I would also recommend Shoulda Turned Left, which is a drunk battle reports podcast done the right way, which is they get drunk during the game, and then while they're still drunk, they record the commentary, and they do it like Advanced Maneuvers, but incoherently. So if you want coherent battle reports, Advanced Maneuvers. Incoherent, Shoulda Turned Left.
Yep. And then a couple more people have mentioned here. Legionnaires mentioned Tabletop Minions. This is good for GW and other random games.
Yep.
PG Semi-Automagic said Dr. Foss Planning Clinic, and also Loading Ready Run, which is Canadian sketch comedy. And I'll also point out Ghoul's Painting.
Yeah.
I don't know how we forgot that. He's got a ton of paint tips. He's got one almost every week. Just comes up there. I just save him to a whole playlist, and like I look through, like I'm trying to paint this. Oh, Ghoul did it. Let me take a quick look at his painting tips and see what he suggests.
Yep. Ghoul is old school. Long as this game's been around, kind of painting tips. Ghoul is old school. So there you go, folks. There's some YouTubes for you. You know, when you're not watching the Painting with Menoth John show, you can get over on some of these.
Yep, and there's so many more that we haven't mentioned. I mean,
Painting
honestly,
Buddha.
I spend way more time than I should during the day watching some YouTubes. But
Painting Buddha,
man,
some high-level painting tips with those guys. So, you know, get out there, try some YouTubes. You know, we talk a lot about terrible movies and stuff like that. YouTube's has a lot to offer.
oh yeah, there's lots of movie critics. Like if you're ever on the fence, you want to see a new movie or not, jump in, see what the guys think about it. Find someone who starts to get the same opinion as you a lot, and then you're like, okay, this guy, at least I know that he's mostly on the same level with me, so I know I can trust his opinion.
Yep, absolutely.
Epic Rap Battles of History. Thank you, Brush Stewart. God, how to forget those guys.
Yep.
Every episode is great.
For reals, yo. All right, folks, we are going to call this an episode, I think. It's hard to believe how fast it went. It was, I think, a really good one. John, I think, you know, we talked a lot about the Journeyman Leagues. We talked a lot about, you know, I did some painting on the Protectorate. Hope to have this caster ready to go for Thursday. I had a beer for the first time since mid-July, and but that's also going to be the last beer I have until this show next week. So, because I don't want to reverse the trend. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is Painting with Menoth John. You've made it through 90 minutes of shenanigans and whatnots. We are going to be back next week. It's going to be just another show of me and John doing what me and John do. And we are going to work on some other painting guests. We're efforting against Craig Gallant from the D6 generation. I'm not sure who we're going to have for the Brushhead Gallery to join us with that. Perhaps we can talk our good friend Flight Medic into joining us for that, because that guy's got a lot to say. That guy's got a lot to say about frickin' painting. I'll tell you what, that guy is legit. You know, he paints in straight lines. John, did you know that?
I did know that. Straight lines, like latitude and longitude.
Latitude and longitude, folks. He'll put fucking geography on your paint or something. He'll put a world in there. You won't even know where to find it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Manoth John, and that is John Spencer. We are the Painting with Manoth John show. We will see you this time, well, not this time, 90 minutes ago, a week in the future. So in the past, in the future, we are the Painting with Manoth John show. Good night, everybody.